Well, hello. Zechariah 4:10 tells us not to despise the day of small beginnings, and this Sunday we are going to be beginning in a very small way to host some church-wide church services. And so we are excited to come back. We're glad to see those of you who are coming. These services are going to be very limited. These services are people who are, number one, ready to come back, and number two, who are willing to follow the really restrictive guidelines that we are going to be following for this season. We think our gatherings are important. The gatherings of God's people on Sunday mornings to worship have been a vital part of our existence for 2,000 years. And so it'll be so good to see some of you in person on Sunday. But again, this reopening is very limited. It does have to come for now with a lot of conditions and restrictions, and we hope to lift those in the months ahead. We want to move things back to normal, but all of these things are necessary for now. And I'd like to describe what we need in the services on Sunday, but before I do, I first want to say a word to the more than half of you that will still be staying home for now. We want you to know that we miss you, but we also don't want you to feel pressured to come back soon. We don't want you to feel rushed back in any way. As vital as these weekly gatherings are, even in the book of Acts, we see churches that get scattered for a season. You see times where apostles are making like missionary journeys where they're taking long journeys by ship, and so they're not able to gather every week with the church. And so those things do happen sometimes in abnormal situations. And so we know that for many of you, this is still not going to be the time where you'll be able to meet in person with the whole church gathered together. And we don't want you to feel like there's any guilt in that for now. This is not a normal situation. If you're deciding to stay home for now, that is not the same as just deciding you like to sleep in on Sundays between Easter and Christmas and not showing up. This is an extraordinary situation, and we understand that. So we don't want you to feel pressure to come back. And again, if you feel sick in any way, if you live in the same home with somebody who is sick, if you've been to one of the states that are on the quarantine list where you have to quarantine yourself for 14 days after you come back, we do ask you to do that. Or if you've been in contact with someone who's been to one of those states and hasn't gone through the 14-day quarantine, we ask you to still stay home until you've completed that process. We want to keep connecting with you. We want to keep connecting online, but also we don't want to rush things in any way so that anybody gets sick. Again, if you have any pre-existing conditions that could make COVID a little bit more serious for you, please just continue to join us online and don't put yourself at risk. Also, if you don't plan on following the requirements, which honestly, none of us like the requirements, but we do need to follow them. If you don't plan on following those, we would encourage you to just continue to join us online during this season. We understand, and if those things are too big a deal for you, please, again, don't rush back. And again, even if you just don't feel ready to come back yet, we're not rushing you. We will see you again soon. We know this is a strange situation, and we can't wait till the day when things are just not strange anymore. But for those of you who are coming on Sunday, here are just a few things to expect. Number one, expect small. Our services are going to be limited to about 200 people, and we will have 20 spots that we leave available for people who couldn't register because they couldn't access the technology. But we do ask that everybody who is coming registers online. Register, sign up. You also need to sign up everybody in your household and any kids that are coming. Again, our kids' classes will be limited to just the nursery and toddlers classes, and those will be very small size. All the other kids will be worshiping with us in the auditorium. We expect that they're going to make some noise. We expect that they're going to move around a little. We don't want that to be strange for you. These are going to be family services, and we know that that's going to come with the territory. If you register and then you decide that you're not coming to church, either because you start feeling sick or you have a change of plans, please go online and unregister. This is really important because we will be turning people away if they come without registering and we've already filled those 20 extra seats. So let us know if you're not coming so that we know that those seats are available for people on Sundays. Have your registration confirmation on your phone or print it out so that you can show it real quickly at the door when you walk in, because otherwise they will pull you aside and ask you to register right there. Expect the service to be a little bit shorter than usual, and also expect to exit right away afterwards. We'll give you instructions on how to exit, how to get out in a little bit different way than we normally do. We know a lot of people are going to want to hang out after service. One of the reasons for gathering is to connect with one another. And we would just ask you to go out to Liberty Pole Plaza and hang out there. Talk to people outdoors, spend as much time as you want, just relaxing and seeing the people again. We're glad that you're doing that, but that'd be better to do outdoors, and also that gives our team a chance to clean things up after you leave. Also, expect really strict social distancing. Again, just keeping 6 feet away from everybody who's not in your household when you're here. We ask you not to give handshakes, not to do hugs. Don't assume that someone else is okay with it just because you've decided that you are okay with it. That's kind of a good rule for life anyway, but don't just go in for the hug. We really want to observe those things here and not be a place where disease will spread. I want you to know that I was a youth pastor for nearly a decade, so I'm an expert at enforcing social distancing. So it will be enforced. We ask you just kind of stay apart while you're here. And then, unfortunately, also, we do ask you to wear masks. Wear masks as you're coming in, wear masks as you're going out, wear masks as you're standing and singing. If you'd like to take them off while you're sitting and listening to the sermon portion of the sermon, or of the service, you're welcome to do that. But again, we just recommend keeping it on the whole time. But again, the only time that it should come off at all, for anyone who's considering taking it off, would be during that time when you're already sitting 6 feet distance from people, just listening to the sermon. Many of you have asked how you can help. All throughout this season, it's just been a tremendous outpouring of people saying, how can I help? How can I serve? And we appreciate that. We've been able to serve our community really well throughout this COVID epidemic. But a way that you can help now is by following these guidelines. We've just got to all say that I'm going to follow these and I won't be the exception. Our team has worked really hard to keep everybody safe during this whole time, and a big part of us being able to continue to have services and keep everybody safe will be our knowledge that the people who are showing up will follow the guidelines. And I know that all these guidelines stink. None of it's fun. We're going to be following guidelines and timelines that probably nobody in the whole church will like at every point, including me. But we are a community that has to flex for one another and has to understand the strange season we're in. And also, we've got to understand that this is just for now. We'll continue to evaluate the policies, and as soon as we feel like we safely can, we're going to loosen all these things up. We want to do that, but we'll do that when it's safe and measured. We hope that there's steady progress toward normal, but we also know that in these COVID days, anything can happen. You know, if everybody feels like things are going well, like we're following the guidelines well, where people are not in any way risking other people, then we'll be able to continue to do this. But if for some reason we don't think we'll be able to continually safely have services, there is also the chance that we might have to have some more time apart, either because there's a spike in the virus regionally or just we feel like we're not able to follow the guidelines for this season. And so we are playing things by ear. We are trusting the Lord in all of this. We're asking him to bless his word in our lives, whether that word is being delivered while we're at home or at church. And we are asking him to be at work to continue to draw people to himself, even in this very, very strange season. So just keep praying. Keep praying for God to heal our land, for God to bring an end to this. Pray that God will continue to build his church and draw people to repentance and faith. Pray that as a nation, as a church, as a community, we would learn all the lessons that God is working to teach us during this time. And just keep praying that sooner rather than later, none of this caution will be necessary. So we hope to see many of you again this weekend, and we know that in the months ahead we'll see many more, but we would encourage you just to continue to be in prayer, and we can't wait to see you.